Okay.
We won't be too long, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're live on all facets. Let's go. Someone says, indeed. Let's do it. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining Spaz'ing Out, America's podcast. New tagline for the podcast, America's podcast. This is your podcast. It's not my podcast. It's your podcast. Thought about that the other night when I was thinking about the things that I care about, which obviously my family, my son, my wife, my daughter, America. I care about the working class man. I care about you know what? I care about anybody that works hard and wants to be successful and get a shot at the American dream and wants to make it themselves and work their asses off. And it made me think about the podcast. And I'm like, you know what? This isn't my podcast. Sure, I do it. Yeah, I'm the host. Hold on, I'm setting the lighting up a little bit here, guys. But ultimately, the podcast is your podcast. Because the things we talk about, I assume, are the things that you care about and the things that you want to hear about. Now, sometimes I talk about stories you might not want to hear, or maybe I get into something you guys don't care about. But for the most part, things that happen in my life happen in your life, and that is why it is your podcast, and that is why this is America's podcast. It might be bold for me to call it America's podcast when, I don't know, we have 2,000 subscribers and maybe I get 1, 2, 3, 4 people viewing the live stream at any given time, but it will grow. As more Americans find out that there is a podcast out there for them, hosted by me, for you, done for you, more people will join, more people will check it out, and more people will be involved in the conversation. Now, tonight, we started the podcast super late, bro. Way late. It's tough. Someone just said go back to 6:30. It's tough for me to do it at 6:30. And I'm going to explain to you guys why. It's spilt milk, all right? First things first, subscribe to the podcast if you have not subscribed. AnthonyPazziali.com, AnthonyPaz.com, either one. It'll get you to a landing page where there's all links to podcast mediums. Or just go to a podcast medium and subscribe to it, okay? Just subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching on Facebook, share this feed. If you're on Twitter, share this feed, retweet it. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not following me, follow me, subscribe, be a part of the podcast. Let's get it done. Now, I got a little problem. Those of you that don't know, or those everybody knows that's listening to the podcast, when I do the podcast, I'm also live. I'm live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. And I'm having a lighting problem on YouTube. I'm wondering, hold on, I'm messing with the lights. That doesn't really work out, man. I got to figure the YouTube lighting out. It's not looking that great. Maybe if I hold on, everybody, hold the phone, okay? Let's. We dropped the phone. What's up? Hold on. Now, not really better. All right, we'll figure it out. I got to figure out lighting. We need better lighting. Whatever. I don't really care. Okay, the podcast. Usually, I used to do it at 6:30 every night. I did it at 6:30 every night for a while. The reason I'm not doing it exactly at 6:30 anymore is it's a problem for my family. Tonight, it was a particular problem because my wife wanted to go out to eat. We haven't been out to eat in a little while. I think the last time we went out to eat was maybe a month or two ago. So she wanted to go to a nice restaurant. It's called Tides. It's in Nahant. It's a really nice place. My buddy Mike Quinn is the GM over there. I went to high school with him. It's a good restaurant. You'd love the food. The steak tips are bomb. I didn't get steak tips. Kaylee did. I ate some of them. I got a grilled chicken wrap with pickles and honey mustard sauce. But it was good. You love the food. Drinks are great. Drinks are good anywhere as long as you have a good bartender that puts in enough booze. You got to taste the booze. If you can't taste the booze, you're out. Anyways, that's why it's tough for me to do the podcast at 6:30. I am dedicated to do it at 6:30, but my family is not. So I'm trying to make my life happy wife, happy life. I'm trying to accommodate my family by working the podcast around their schedule. I could record the podcast, honestly, at any time. I could do it at 6 in the morning. I could do it at 4 in the morning. I could do it at 5 in the morning. But I enjoy doing the live stream while I record the podcast And 6:30 worked out for me from the beginning, but it doesn't work out anymore because my family's upset about it. Because when I get home from work, I go right downstairs and I start doing the podcast. Now, as it grows, because it is growing, which is why it's America's podcast, as it grows and it becomes monetized, well, then I can have that fight. I can have that argument with people. And I can say, you know what? I'm doing it at 6:30. This is when people want it. America wants the podcast, and they want it at 6:30 Eastern time, and that's when they're going to get it. But right now, not so much. Not to mention, not Al just says, "Wow, 8:30." I know, bro. I had family stuff to do. Had a couple drinks at Tides. Had some food. Short podcast tonight, but we do have some we have things to talk about. I want to talk about a couple of things, but before we get to that, I'm always about spilt milk. Literally, life right now is just life. And I don't want to complain, but I get the feeling that other people are having the same problems. Life is just a pain in the ass right now. Coronavirus or COVID-19 has us all messed up. Has us messed up at work, has us messed up at home, and now it's going to mess up our school year. And then on top of that, you're going to deal with the daily garbage that you deal with from your daily life. Things that piss your wife off, that you get into an argument with her, or going out to eat. I didn't want to go out to eat tonight, but she wanted to. And I love her, so I want to do things that make her happy. But I certainly don't want to drop $120 on a meal that, quite frankly, I could have made it home for like $30, and I could have bought a bottle of booze. I've been in her for 50. But it made her happy, and my daughter had a good time. But it's tough. It's just tough right now. Times are absolutely freaking tough. They just are. And I'm not complaining. I'll get through it. I'll work through it just like you. Bro, I work today, 90 degrees out. And I'm working in like the Sahara Desert up in fucking Loudon, New Hampshire. Literally. Where I'm working, it's the only place in New Hampshire where there's no trees. It's a dust bowl. It's a nightmare. It's a tough time. We're figuring it out. I'm trying to figure it out. And it affects my podcast. I have to work my podcast around the time my family needs me to. And it's affecting the growth of the podcast. Because trust me, guys, I want to grow this podcast extremely fast. Because this is what I want to do. I want America's podcast to be huge. I want Spaz'ing Out to be a big podcast so that this is my job. But it's going to take me time to get there. And I'm going to mess with the times that I do it. Mess with the content that I provide, and try to make it work. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for having I didn't wear a mask. Someone just asked, but thank you for being there. All right. Speaking of masks, because one of the listeners, Al, who lives up here in Revere Beach, asked, please, you had to wear a mask. And I didn't have to wear a mask. You wear a mask to get into the building, but then when you go outside, you don't have to wear a mask, so I didn't have a mask on. But speaking of that, that's one of the stories I want to talk about tonight. In Florida, there's a sheriff in one of the counties. At his office, you can't wear a mask. He is straight out said, if you want any officers that work for him or under him, when they're in the office, no masks. Sorry, I'm like dying, dude. That dust bowl is killing me. Anybody that comes in, if you need come into the sheriff's office, you can't wear your mask. The reason that he's done this is his barking call on this is safety. Right now, he is saying that no one supports the police, no one supports law enforcement, and he does not want to allow anybody that he doesn't know to come in to his office, to come into his building with a mask on, because he's worried for his guys. And I think that's okay. They have a shield, he said. They have it's almost like a bank, right? For you to get to one of the sheriffs, you'd have to go through the bank glass to get through it. And hold on, dude. I'm fucking dying, dude. You know what? I'm trying to have a serious conversation about masks and about stories. I'm dying. Literally. I'm hot as hell in my basement. I'm aggravated that I'm doing... The truth of the matter is I'm aggravated that I'm doing the podcast this late. It's garbage. I don't want to do it this late. My head hurts. I had a few drinks, and I'm frustrated, and it's hot, and my daughter's right over here. This podcast really is all about spilt milk and going back and forth. I'm going to be on one topic and go to the next. And I want to have a serious conversation, but I can't. I just can't. It's not me. I can't have like I can't bullshit you guys, right? I can't BS it. And I don't want to BS it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to follow the podcast. I don't want to do the podcast right now. I'm aggravated about being here doing it. I'm frustrated right now about doing it. The sheriff in Florida, I back him. I back the police. I think he's right. He should do what he is doing. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fantastic. But I don't care about it right now. I cared about it earlier. At 6:30, I was like, yeah, absolutely, dude. No masks in your office because why? You care about your guys and you don't want some dick walking in shooting you guys. But I can't have a good conversation about it. I'm not there. I'm not. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I'll bang out the podcast. I mean, sure, I'm here. But while I'm talking, my head hurts. I had a buzz about 20 minutes ago. Now I don't have a buzz, so I'm coming down from my buzz, so I'm aggravated about it. I'm just aggravated. That's what's going on right now, man. Everybody's aggravated, guy. We're all aggravated. Everything in life is a pain in the ass. I can't even have it's spilt milk all day long. I can't even have a conversation. I just want to back this guy, right? In Florida, the sheriff, I back him. So I'll get that out. I support law enforcement. I back the blue. I think it's great that he has decided that if you want to come into his department, you have to take your mask off. And if you don't take your mask off, you got to leave because he wants to make sure his guys are safe. He realizes that his guys might not be safe. But yeah, I don't have time to care about it. I don't give a fuck. I'm frustrated. I just want to put together a good podcast, and I want to do it when I want to do it. And I'm happy to do it around my family sometimes, but today I'm not. I worked my ass off. I spent $120 on a meal. It was good. Listen, Tides is great. But I don't want to drop $120 on a fucking meal. I don't. I'd rather save the money. I mean, if you think about how many times you go out to eat and if you just save that money. Oh. This is like one of those days where you're working on something, right? This is when people give up. This is when you're working on something that you know is going to be great. Like I believe in America's podcast. I believe that Spazzing Out will be a great podcast. I really do. I honestly do. But today, I don't want to do it. I didn't even want to come on. I almost didn't come on. And I've said this to you guys maybe 4 or 5 times while we've done the podcast before. I've been like, you know what? I don't feel like doing this crap. It's garbage. I'd like to move on from it. Not from the podcast, but just from the night. Like, I just want to be like, Since I've started the podcast, I've never missed one of the scheduled nights. Now, I've missed the time, but I'm just like, That's how I feel. I'm like, Dropped 120 on a meal. Had a couple drinks. I'd like to do this at 6:30. I don't know that I can get into it. I don't know that I can get fired up enough to get into it. Literally. I really don't. Sometimes it's just frustrating. Sometimes you just like, someone says drink more. I agree. Bro, drink more. But, yeah, so there's the sheriff story. I had a couple other stories. We'll get to them. You know what? Here's one that'll make me feel better. Okay? Here's, no, not tip included, bro. No. Tip included. We gave a 20% tip on that. So whatever the math is, Kaylee paid the tip in cash. All right, but let's just do a story. You know what? Let's do a story for me that'll make me, what would Stan tell you to do? Well, my dad, Stan, would, first off, never in a million years ever go out to eat and drop $120. Ever, never in a million years would the guy do it. And he wouldn't have any care about it. He would tell Liz, he'd be like, yeah, if you don't like it, there's the door. The dude would never, ever, 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 ever do it. Next thing Stan would say is the best time to do something is when you don't want to do it, because it'll make it do when you do want to do it, it'll be that much easier. That's why I'm doing the podcast tonight, because I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it. As you could tell, I'm like mailing it in, but that I'm here and that I'm doing it will make it that much more better when I want to do it. So my father would say, persist until you succeed. Speaking of persisting until you succeed, I'd like to do a story that actually makes me happy. So according to a new study, more than half of America, almost 60% of Americans believe that Trump should ban TikTok because it's Chinese owned and they're trying to take your information. And I agree. I think they should ban TikTok, get it out of the United States. They should burn the buildings down that they own, put them all in a rocket and shoot them to the moon. Why do I feel like that? You know why I feel like that? Because TikTok kicked me off. I love TikTok. Here we go, though. Even as I talk about a story that I was happy to hear earlier because I'm pissed at TikTok, I'm faking it, dude. Faking it. I just don't want to do it tonight. I'm frustrated. Like, I want to be pissed off at TikTok, and I want to ban China, and I want to get fired up, and I want to be like, yeah, ban TikTok. But I don't got it. I'm not on. The A game's not here. Where is it? I don't know. Maybe it's in the Sahara Desert up in Loudon, New Hampshire, the Dust Bowl. Maybe I left it up there today, working in 90-degree weather. Maybe I left it at Tides at the 120. I don't know. You know what I want to be doing right now? I want to watch fucking Umbrella Academy. That's what I want to be doing right now. I just started watching Umbrella Academy. I'm binging it. It's a show on Netflix. I got through the first season. I watched that first season finale last night at about 8:30. And right about now, that's what I want to do. I want to watch the first episode of season 2 of the Umbrella Academy. Because I'm not in it. I'm just frustrated, dude. It's just, yeah, man. Building something's tough. It is. It just is. It is. It is. No one wants to grind it out with you, man. It's just tough. It's tough. And I believe that this is America's podcast because I believe you guys feel like me. So I'm being honest with you. Look at that. My TikTok or I don't know what the hell it is. This is the second night in a row that Twitter's kicked me off. And I don't know what the fuck I did for them to kick me off. But whatever. They kicked me off. So we'll move on from them. I don't. Maybe it's the swearing. Maybe you can't swear in their medium. I don't know what the problem is. But, or maybe they just felt the vibe. Maybe they're like, you know what? This guy doesn't feel like doing his podcast tonight. But this is like every American. That's why it's America's podcast. Every single one of you guys, when you have something to do, you don't want to do it. You get up from work and you're like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like being here today. I don't feel like cranking it out. I don't got 150%. Now, there are some people that'll BS you. Some people come on, they'll do their podcast and they'll pretend. They'll be like, yeah, I'm going to get it. I got the podcast. I'm going to kill it. Let's do it. Woo, woo, woo. I don't want to be fake with you guys. I want to be real. I'm passionate about doing it. I love the podcast, but I'm not feeling it tonight. I mean, that's it. That's the truth. And I don't want to lie to you guys. I want to be tight. It's one of the biggest things I used to love about working at WAAF when I used to work in radio, is I felt like I had a big connection with the listeners. And anything that I was feeling, I was honest with. I was like, hey, this is how I feel. Because I feel like that relates. Because I feel like you guys relate with me. There are things you don't want to do. You're just done. You're done for the night. It's time to pack it in, man. It's time to chill. It's time to just relax. You know, it's just time to, tomorrow night, I'll be ready to kill it. Shit. And maybe I won't be. Maybe I won't tomorrow night. But I'll be here. But it's just like going to work. It's like, yeah, man, I don't want to go today and, throw the helmet on and sling concrete all day long. But you'll go and you'll sling concrete. I know you guys feel how I feel at hot. I'm not like upset Listen, let me be clear and honest and straight. I'm not depressed. I'm not fucking Michelle Obama where I got mild depression. I don't have that shit. I love myself. I'm happy. I still feel like doing it tonight. It's like exercising. You feel like riding a bike? Sure. Yeah, I'll do it today. The next day you don't want to do it. But I'm here because I want to show my dedication to the show. I'm here because I want to show my dedication to the process. Because if I bail out tonight, I'll bail out another night. And I don't want to bail out. So I'd rather come on here and talk to you about the truth and put out a garbage podcast. But the fact that I'm here, it's like doing push-ups, right? You start doing push-ups. First night, you bang out 25, but now your arms hurt. Next night, you can only do like 10. Then after that, you can only do 5, but you still do the 5 because it's a process. It's about getting into a schedule and continuing to do it. So that's why I'm here. I'll try to do another story. Let's see if we can get another one out. I don't feel like doing it, but we'll try. I like this term that it came across today, and I'm going to affectionately start using it, and I'm going to use it with pride. And I never thought of it like this. The mutants of the world, the people. I can't even fucking get into it. Really, I'm not feeling it. I'm not. I was going to bring up the Moocher Class. And the Moocher Class are those people that I hate. They're the people that are lifelong government sucks. The Moocher Class are those people that don't work and collect and pretend to have a disability. They pretend to be out looking for a job but continue to collect unemployment. They stay at home and they suck off their parents. The Moocher Class. Plain and simple. Prayers for the family of... What happened? I'll have to check that out. I can't read the name because I can't. Is it Cannon? I don't know. Did something crazy happen? Presley, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Hey, I'm going to let my daughter do the podcast. Honey, what do you want to talk about?
That I like unicorns.
Tell us about unicorns.
Unicorns have rainbow blood.
They have rainbow blood? Why is that?
Because they are unicorns and they have rainbow horns and they have rainbow hair.
And what do you like about rainbow blood?
Because it's rainbow.
Now that, guys, is something that I can get into. Not rainbow blood. But no matter when I'm having an aggravated time or when I might not want to do something, my daughter always makes me happy. Always. I love you so much, sweetie.
Me too.
Can I have a kiss on the cheek? Thanks, sweetie. All right. I don't think anybody really made it that far into the podcast. I'll try to do another story and then we'll move on. So one other thing that is for some reason keeps coming up and is a big problem for me and I can't really deal with it is mail-in ballots and mail-in voting. I can't understand why this is a thing. I don't understand why the federal government, the federal government doesn't regulate it. States do. I can't understand why states are continuing to push heavy for mail-in ballots for the November election. It's clear already over 400,000 people's votes weren't counted in states across the country because of they filed them wrong or they mailed them in too late. It's also clear that fraud is going to be very easy with these ballots. The only way to vote, clearly, is to vote in person and with an ID. In person with an ID. Simple. Plain, even that, guys. You know what? I'm not feeling it. I'm not even like normally I would be so enraged about the fact that we're gonna have mail-in voting. It enrages me that people think that they shouldn't go to the polls, wherever it is, the school, the Elks, the library, with their ID, with their effing ID, and vote in person and say, I am who I am. It absolutely drives me nuts. But tonight, I don't even care about it. I don't. I'm that messed up. I'm that aggravated. I'm that out on the podcast tonight. I'm that gone. I'm not gonna ever stop doing it, but I'm there, dude. And I don't want to hide shit from my listeners because I want to be upfront with people. I want to be like, hey, bro, I'm having a day where I just don't feel like doing anything. And it's one of those days. I don't care. But most Americans don't. You know what? Most Americans don't care about what's going on. They don't. They want to come home. They want to take a shower. They want to relax. They want an ice cold beverage, whatever it might be, whether it's an alcoholic beverage, whether it's liquor or whether it's beer, or maybe they just want an ice cold water and they want to be left alone and they want to enjoy their night, and then they get up and they'll repeat it again because tomorrow is another day and tomorrow it will be a better day and they'll be in a better mood. It's like a wheel, man. I said this to you guys all the time. I'm trying to turn the wheel right now. Trying my ass off. I'm like, all right, I know you don't want to do this right now, bro, but turn the wheel. Turn the wheel. 1 or 100,000. You got to put out your best. You got to do the best podcast you can. You got to try to entertain people. You got to do what's up. I don't fucking feel like doing it. Not tonight. I don't. And I love you guys. And I've been faking it for about 26 minutes. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. I don't care about it. I'm about ready to let my daughter take the podcast over for the night because that's how much I'm like, ah. And you can't do shit like that, right? You can't do shit like this. This is how you lose. Here's the crazy thing. Every podcast you do is an opportunity to get more listeners. So you always got to be on. Every chance, every time you're in front, every time you're live on Facebook, every time you're live on YouTube, every time you're doing your podcast, it's the time to be on and to get people. But I think the best way for you to get people, my belly's definitely full. The best way to get people is to be honest with them. Be straight up. If you don't feel like doing something, tell them. Say, hey, I'm here for you. It's America's podcast. And how does America feel tonight? America feels like shit. Doesn't want to do anything. America wants to watch the Umbrella Academy and not do the podcast. That's what America wants to do. America wanted to do the podcast at 6:30 and get it done with for the night. Was fired up about it. Wanted to rip on mail-in voting. Wanted to praise every American for wanting to get rid of TikTok. Wanted to high-five the sheriff in Florida. Wanted to rip on the Moocher Class. We hate the Moocher Class on this program. We absolutely hate them. We hate moochers. I hate the Moocher Class. I want to rip the Moocher Class. Tonight, I just want to relax. I want to think about unicorns and unicorn rainbow blood with my beautiful daughter, who I love more than anything in the world. Who's the most beautiful girl? Say it.
My mom.
No, who's the most beautiful girl?
Mom.
Presley. Who's daddy's number one?
Nariam.
What? Get out of here. You're my number one.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I love my daughter more than anything in the world, guys. I love her so much. But, all right, you know what? We made it to about a half hour. That's going to be it, man. We're going to cut it short. We'll be back tomorrow night. Better fired up. More excited. Got stories to talk about. But the truth of the matter is, guys, I'm really passionate about making a connection with the people that listen to my podcast. Okay? And you listen to this is your fucking podcast. It's America's podcast, and I mean it. The reason that it is, we're going to be honest with each other. Anytime I come on here, you're going to get how I'm feeling, what I'm feeling, and the things that I'm dealing with that day. And if I'm not feeling it, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you I'm not feeling it. And if you want to skip out on the podcast for the night because you don't think I gave it 150%, go ahead, because I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not going to give it 150% tonight, guys. I'm not into it. But I'm here because I said I would be. I'm here because I said I would do it 5 nights a week, and I'm going to do it 5 nights a week, except for when I go on vacation. But even when I go on vacation, I did it already once this year. Next time I go on vacation, I'm not doing it. Shit ain't happening. Next time I go on vacation, ain't happening. But if I'm honest with you, right, we'll have a better connection, and you'll understand that me and you, we're the same. There are things we don't want to do. There are times we don't want to do it, but we still get up and we still do it. Whether we're mailing it in or not, we're still here. And I'm loyal to you guys, and I hope that you guys will in turn be the same to me. Thank you so much for listening to Spaz'n Out, America's podcast. I promise that I will give it a better effort tomorrow night, and we will have a better time, hopefully. But if I'm not, and I'm not into it, I'll still be here. We'll still try to have a conversation and talk about topics of the day. But if we can't, whatever. That's how it is, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah, Daddy wasn't feeling it tonight.